On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 drummers drumming by the Rider Pony. Tonight, Twilight was ready. Some way, somehow, someone was sneaking things into her home. But whether their origin be magical or physical, they had to be entering from some point in the castle. The castle was too big to be controlled by a single alicorn and dragon team. Things could easily be stuck in whatever part of the castle she wasn't actively monitoring. No, what she was in need was a team, and thanks to her rapidly growing unexpected entourage, she finally had one. The cows agreed readily. There were over 2 dozen of them, likely all from the same herd. They were primarily thankful for the hospitality and sterile food, and wanted to help out any way they could. The bureaucrats had been trickier to convince. Most were middle-aged government officials and not keen on the idea of keeping watch all night, even if the job was 7 shifts. But the passage speech about the power of friendship and cooperation and ponies coming together against adversity soon rallied them. Before long, they were drawing up maps of the castle, plotting out the most efficient patrol routes, the most likely points of magical or physical ingress. The answers? The answers had been both difficult and straightforward. After her friendship speech failed, Twilight tried using their rivalry to spur them to each try and outperform each other at defending the castle. Fortunately, the dancing instructors saw through this very easily and failed to take the bait. Eventually, Twilight was forced to put her hoof down. By royal decree, conscript both dancers and dance instructors as an impromptu guard force. The older mayors grumbled, but didn't disobey a direct order from a princess. They divided the castle into sections, each section having a hoofful of teams assigned to it, each team composed by 3 members. The plan was to patrol the castle in shifts, cycle through the halls along a determined path, checking each room before rendezvousing back with the others to trade responsibility with another team. It was a simple, elegant plan, with a 0 chance of failure. After all, with so many teams patrolling and searching, how could they have possibly missed the expected arrival of nearly 30 ponies and cows? Twilight strode to the ballroom with a confidence that belied her fatigue. It was time to see the results of her plan. A perfect plan that would 100%, without a doubt, definitely work. Either they would catch the culprit in the act, thus solving the mystery, or no new gifts would appear, thus proving the culprit merely a pony instead of some lock-breaking myth. Or possibly new gifts could somehow appear anyway, thus proving Twilight did not want to think about that possibility. For once, it was quiet in the ballroom. No cacophonous bird cries, no tight-lipped dance instructors berating their students. Even the quiet undercurrent of occasional lowing seemed to have been abated. Everything was quiet and still. With trepidation, Twilight opened the grand doors and poked her head in. Most of the teams seemed to have returned already. A few who had late shifts were still sleeping, but most were awake, conversing in hushed so as not to disturb their others. The birds and trees were stored off to one side, each group with like of its members of its kind. Notary noticed Twilight arrival and trotted over. "Your Highness!" He bowed briefly before straightening. "I can report with confidence that nothing appeared in the east wing over the course of the night. No ponies, no cows, poultry, or otherwise." "Thank you, Notary." Twilight acknowledged as a few more teams trickled in. "Have you heard from any of the other sectors yet?" He nodded, stepping aside so another team could walk past. "Miss Metronome from Main Han tallied reports from the teams in the central sector, who all reported nothing unusual." As he spoke, a cranberry-yellow foal walked up to the 2 of them. "Captain Butterscotch reporting, Miss Princess Twilight, ma'am." He stuck a serious, if one-sided salute. "My team saw nothing strange in the west wing, library, or the kitchens." "Thank you for your hard work," Twilight praised. The foal maintained his determined, rigid salute. "Oh yes, you're the miss." With a smile, he turned and ran back to the group of similarly aged ponies. "It's nice to see them taking this so seriously," Twilight commented as she watched them run off. Vice Mayor Nori scrunched his muzzle in confusion and concentration. "Princess," he began, "recent information string getting to me, but I don't recall there being any foals present when we broke into teams last evening." Twilight had been in the middle of waving to one of the foals when she froze. Slowly, she turned to meet his gaze, then turned back just as slowly to stare at a group of laughing, playing foals. She stared at them for several long moments before turning her attention to the room as a whole. Did the geese seem quite compact when they placed their holding area last night? Did the line of berry trees really extend that far down the side of the room? It did seem to be taking a remarkably long time for all teams to return to the ballroom. "Everybody, single file lines!" Twilight demanded in a voice that shook the room and immediately roused everyone who had been asleep. Cows in one line, dancers in the next, any pony not covered by those two categories in the final line. Now hot to it! Camelot-trained soldiers couldn't have responded as half as efficiently as these creatures did. Within moments, everybody stood rigid in their lines, as Twilight conducted a rapid head count. She stalked over to Mirabelle, who had become the de facto leader of her rapidly growing herd. Mirabelle, she began awkwardly sweetly, your teens found nothing ordinary all night long, correct? That's right, Princess. Then, could you please be so kind to tell me why your herd suddenly has 8 more members than it did last night? I don't know, Princess. She cowered, frightened by this new side to previously pleasant purple pony. Gotta love alliteration. We did our rounds. We never strayed from the side routes or expectations. I couldn't imagine all this happened. Fly sighed, knowing she'd get nothing else out of the frightened heifer, as if she even had anything else to offer. Cows were well known as an honest and straightforward people. She turned her attention to the row of dancers. All right, then. Who among you is from the Camelot Ballet Studio? Raise your hopes up. Up now. 9 hooves flew into the air. Good, good. Hooves down, please. Now, who's for the Manhattan Ballet Corps? Again, 9 hooves were raised. Twilight turned to the pony nearest to her, who had not yet raised a hoof. You. Who are you? Where are you from? When and how did you get here? The frightened pink Pegasus yelled quietly before swallowing her fear. My name is Golden Slipper, Your Highness, and I'm from Las Pegasus. I'm part of an evening dance out there, and I don't know how I got there. Twilight raised an eyebrow. You don't know? Explain yourself. I remember walking home from a late show last evening. I waved goodbye to some of my friends, then took a shortcut down an alley. Then, she paused and eyes wide as she realized something. Then I was walking down a hall made of crystal with these 2 other ponies I'd never seen before. I think it was a lot at the time, but now Crunch, where am I? She began to look around in panic, eyes starring every which direction, as if looking for some means of escape. Several ponies began to realize they had gone through their remarkable experiences, began to panic. The room began to solve into chaos. Quiet! Twilight yelled, thoroughly fed up with everything not making sense. And the problem with that is, and 2 days with no sleep was not helping her temper. As the room returned to its hush, she returned her fiery attention to the nearest group of rivals, the foals. Remarkably, they seemed unperturbed by her yelling. They were all roughly the same age, maybe a year or 2 below her friend's sisters. Twilight took a deep breath to try and calm down. No good could possibly come from scaring 11 delicate young foals. The one identifying himself as Butterscotch stepped forward and gave another cheery salute. Anything I could do for you, Princess Highness Twilight Commander, ma'am, sir? Twilight sucked in a sharp breath, pushing herself to remain calm. Yes, Butterscotch was it. Do you know how you got here? No, he trailed through a captive grin. I remember going back to sleep at the orphanage, and then I had a dream about marching through some halls, and then we were here. Eureka's face caught her attention. Orphanage? Yes, ma'am, sir. Helping Hope's Community Orphanage, he recited. 24601 Freer Street, Baltimore. He looked at Twilight sweetly. Are you going to be our mommy now? Her jaw dropped as she stumbled over a response. What? Our? The foal nodded. Yeah, our. He gestured to the 10 foals behind him. We're all orphans. All of us. Twilight groaned as he fell into the sleep position. Around their temples as he tried to wrap her mind around this new development. Orphans? Cows, dancers, and pencil pushers are one thing. But orphan foals? What kind of monster would even consider such an idea? Well, his name is Conquest, but he's nowhere near this story. Butterscotch, as sensing her distress, came over and patted her withers. Don't worry, you, Mommy, he consoled. We'll cheer you up with a song we've been practicing for our benefactor's ball. He then stepped back to his compatriots. Each of whom Twilight consciously noted had a 3-wooden whistle on a string around their necks. All were clearly hoof-made, several of them quite poorly. They all took a collective deep breath and began to play. It's a hard knock life for us. Oh, boo-boo! The ending joke was obvious! Get off the stage! The music, if one was deaf enough to call it such, was terrible. Several of the pipes were so badly made they couldn't even produce proper tones. Those that could almost were never in the same octave as the others. The players themselves were terrible too. Even those that had working pipes could barely play one proper note out of the 3. It was loud, screechy, It was downright painful to listen to. But the little orphans' faces gleamed so brightly as they played to their heart's content, they pleased their new mommy. One look was enough to know they thought they could rival the Cadillac Philharmonic. Twilight fell to the ground in a silent scream. Despite the wrong notes, despite the terrible lack of tempo and coordination, her little mind could still decipher what the song was supposed to be. It was an old song, still occasionally played around the holidays, but mostly forgotten. Twilight herself hadn't heard the same tune since she was a Villy, but in a flash, the memories came rushing back. It's fitting, strangely enough, but for the worst possible reason. As Twilight collapsed and ponies began running to her aid, the name of the tune and its implications ran throughout her mind like a church bell. Dance of the Sugar Plum Pixies. You know, since 11 Piper's piping, I'm surprised that we didn't bring in the bagpipes. Arr! Nobody in existence could actually properly play the bagpipes. Thank you, Scottish joke. Last chapter. On the 12th day of hearts soaring, we all gave the twilight. 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 sons a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 friends hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Take it, partridge! Oh, I think I love you, so what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that there is no hope for what there is no cure for. What the love about? Oh, the
12 chapters. 12 chapters. You went through 12 chapters and you just now made a freaking Partridge Family joke!
What can I say, Trixie? I wanted to leave you in suspense. Boop. Twilight did not want to get up. What was the point anymore? So she didn't. And that was how Spike found her at nearly lunchtime, balled up under her covers. Twilight! He ventured forward cautiously. A low moan oozed from beneath the covers in response. He sighed and hopped up on the bed beside her. He kicked his leg slyly. Twilight! He started, but the words died in the air. The awkward silence hung between them. Twilight was in a terrible place, and Spike knowing how to give her the help she needed.
I don't know what to do, Spike.
Her words were so quiet they barely reached him.
How can I call myself a rational, scientifically minded pony when faced with all this?
I wouldn't know, he replied. I've never been in any situation like this.
I can make it all end, she whispered. All I have to do is give up my pride and sacrifice my belief that science and magic can explain the world.
Well, not really, Spike admitted. You've done it before. A section of the twilight moved, almost like an ear had perked up curiously. Spike didn't notice. I mean, he continued, more voicing his thoughts than anything else, I'm pretty sure this pixie's behind everything, and I'm fine admitting that. I'm not as scientifically minded as you, so maybe it's easier for me to accept the impossible. But you've done it before. He gazed awkwardly, thoughtfully. The way I see it, this pixie is a lot like Pinky. Pinky's done a lot of impossible stuff. Hey, she's constantly doing impossible stuff. You tried to explain it. You spent weeks studying her every move, running every physical and magical test in the book. In the end, you found nothing. You couldn't explain her impossible tricks, but that doesn't mean you suddenly denied that they ever happened. You gave up, shrugged, and decided that's Pinky. Same thing with Discord. There's not a single magical theory that can explain what he does. But you just accept that that's fine, because he calls it chaos magic. Separates it from normal magic. Sure, there's a lot of lessons about the pixie. But I bet there's plenty about Discord too if you went looking. The left behind Twilight, Spike rose, like a pony raising her head. It's like, you can't accept things because they don't fit in your definition of the rules how magic works. But you're also willing to ignore exceptions to those rules, so long as they're classified as something outside of normal magic, like Pinky or Discord. Could you just call the pixie something that works outside of normal magic? He scratched his chin thoughtfully. I think it's kind of like that thing with the bumblebee you told me about once. How there's no way these should be able to fly, but... He stopped as he felt a thin band of magic holding his lips together. He turned to see Twilight looking at him.
That'll do, Spike. She smiled at him. I think that's exactly what I needed to hear.
She held to her host, renewed confidence and energy emanating from her like an aura. I may not like the word believe, but I suppose I can accept such a creature as the heartwarming pixie could potentially exist. The fourth these is some kind of unknown magic, as those seen over here for the past 2 weeks. Spike grew a cheeky grin. Sounds like belief to me. Twilight laughed as she jumped to the floor, performing an expert flip as she did. Call it what you will, but I say it's time we appease this pixie. You have a plan? Twilight's grin bordered on maniac, but there was a sneaky spark in her eye. Piggy said that this pixie thrives at the holiday cheer, right? So, let's appease it with all the hostility facilities we can. Twilight threw open the doors to the kitchens. With a flare of her magic, every stove, oven, and cooktop flared to life. In marched the dancers 4x4, who took their places at various workstations. Twilight stood proudly at the head of her room. All right, every pony, I know you're not bakers. Some of you never cooked so much as a bowl of soup. But today, we're going to stop these dislocations from happening to more innocent ponies. They're going to need as many sweet treats as we can turn out. One male raised a hoof. Are you sure this will work? Baking will stop more ponies from showing up. A fiery gleam of confidence echoed in Twilight's eyes as she responded. Yes, I am. I'm going to help you all out. I'm leaving my dutiful assistant Spike in charge. Please treat him with respect as he's treating me. She swiftly exited the room as Spike hopped onto the long table that ran the length of the room. All right, ladies, he barked. We got a lot of baking to do. Stations 1 through 4, here are cookies. 5 through 8, puddings. 9 through 12, get me some cakes. Pronto! Team 13, gingerbread fillets. On the double. Use the friends if you have trouble. But I'm also here to answer your questions as well as provide assistance and advice. Do I make myself clear? There was a general murmuring. What was that? Did I hear? Yes, Chef Spike! Yes, Chef Spike! Now that's what I like to hear. He grabbed a stack of cookbooks from the end of the table and tossed them back over his head. A book landed in front of each team, following to open the packages relevant to exactly what he assigned. Now, let's get cooking. I don't know about you guys, but for some odd reason, the Nutcracker Suite is playing in my head. Twilight led the bureaucrats and cows decorating the castle proper. Though some had been done with her friends earlier, most work had been forgotten in recent chaos. The bureaucrats, they found, were especially good at coordinating decorations. Everything available was placed as efficiently as possible. Every bauble evenly spaced, every string of garland spread to cover the most possible area. Some of those with stronger stomachs even applied their enchanted springs, used the additional height to decorate higher balconies and window tops. The cows couldn't help as broadly as others, liking the magic that allowed ponies to grab objects. They instead utilized their brute strength. Working in teams, they were able to coordinate large moving items, furniture, into proper places, or away from where they weren't needed. The orphans practiced their music in the ballroom. Once Twilight had presented them with new crystal pipes, repurposed for Spike's still broken bathroom, they actually weren't half bad sounding. Twilight teamed them up with a band of drummers who had shown up that morning, a marching group from Seattle. While the drummers weren't trained on woodwinds, they could still teach the tots about tempo, rhythm, and hitting the right notes. The birds also helped with this, as one of the ballet dancers also had a secondary talent of bird keeping. This made them far more agile, even useful. By that evening, everything was prepared. It was a party to remember. The food was unending, the music was actually good. Twilight unlocked the deep cellars and rolled out the good drink. Wine and spirits flowed freely, so the new ponies made sure to keep it clear of the falls. Spirits were high as laughter and frivolity filled the normally reserved halls. Even Twilight's sacred library was not immune to the powerful force of partying. The orphans completed to build the strongest holiday forts, and tested them through combat by pillow. And even after a few drinks, some of the adults joined in as well. So even Twilight joined in the festivities, so she worked hard to ensure the party would compensate for every pony missing heartwarming, as he would if the snow was a cleared zone. If you want frivolity, you got it! Twilight thought to herself. Sweet snacks? I got tables full. Holiday cheer? It's here in spades. She smirked as the thought of everything this pixie had put her through. You want me to keep the holidays in my heart and acknowledge you? Well, here's my response. When it comes to working together and friendship, you messed with the wrong pony! Pixie, hit me with your best shot! Never before has a line like that come off as so cheesy, yet so awesome. On the 13th day... who cares anymore? Twilight awoke, groggy, maybe a little hungover. She rubbed her eyes as she struggled to stand. Why was her bed so hard and uncomfortable? Oh, she slept on the floor. That would explain it. She stretched out, hearing her neck and back crack several times. She tilted her head left and right, producing two more distinct cracks which echoed through the silent halls. Wait, silent halls? Twilight strained her ears. Everything was quiet. Not a "there's nobody here" quiet. Not a "every pony's asleep" quiet. This was a "there's no one nearby" quiet. Sticking out her stiff muscles, she tried down the halls at a brisk pace. The remains of the party were everywhere. Empty cups and half-finished plates festooned the nearly flat surface. A few pieces of garland were hanging loose by one end, causing it to drape across the doorways like hanging vines. Twilight finally reached the bottom doors, which were slightly blocked by a many fortress of mattresses and pillows. Brushing them aside, she forced her way through the doors. The hall was a mess. If the hallways were the result of a minor scuffle, then the ballroom was a war zone. It was impossible to take a step without landing on something. A crushed party hat, a slice of unfinished cake, a large festival oil slick. Twilight took great care to avoid the latter at all costs. She eventually made her way to the center of the room, where a large pile of debris paused slightly. She pressed aside the pile to reveal a slumbering dragon wearing a lampshade. With a soft cooing, a partridge poked its head from one side of the shade, creating a comical image of a dragon with a partridge's head wearing a strange dress. Twilight shook him slightly. "No, Princess," he murmured. "I'll make sure she doesn't study too late." "Spike," Twilight shook him again. "You need to wake up. Something's wrong." Slowly, the adolescent dragon rose from a slumber. "Ugh, my head. What's the problem, Twilight?" "Look around you." He turned about and rubbed his rapidly widening eyes. "Whoa, what a mess. Guess I could get her some help cleaning this up, Twi." "No, Spike, not the mess. Listen." She paused so they could only both listen. "I don't hear anything," he eventually responded. "Exactly. Nothing. Silence. We're alone." "Alone? But what about—" "Go on. I haven't seen so much as a bird since I woke up." The partridge still on Spike's head made itself known with a curious coo. "Not counting Shirley," Twilight recanted. Spike's sudden expression slowly turned to a smile. Did we do it? Did we win?" Twilight smiled back. "Yes, Spike. I think we did. We're finally free." Just then, a sound echoed through the halls. It was faint, but the occupants of the ballroom heard it. They swivelled towards the source of the sound. There was another. It was a dull, echoing thud. Not in instant agreement, Spike vaulted onto Twilight's back as she spread her wings. She sailed into the hall, sensing direction every time the noise repeated. The pair soon found themselves at the front hall again, where the noise echoed to the mustard pinpoint. "What do you think it is?" Spike asked as he cast his gaze about the room. "I don't know, Spike." Her horn was already lit, prepared for whatever it could be. "But I won't take too kindly to a new problem so soon after we sorted out the last one." They waited for the noise to repeat. It didn't. The tinsel was so thick you could cut it off with a knife. Suddenly, without warning, there was a knock on the main door. A perfectly normal, innocent knock. Almost instinctively, Spike hugged off Twilight and opened the door. As soon as he opened it, a very familiar purple pony walked in. "You know, they say it's hard coming back after such a long time away, but I don't think this is what they meant." Sorry, Quimmer quit. A tiny smirk grew at the corner of her mouth, until she visibly thought it. "I heard you've been so difficulty getting out of the house, Twilight, so I thought I'd come back early to lend a hoof." She was confused for a moment, before frowning and smacking her face with a hoof and groan. "Shoot! I said both! I was worked so hard on choosing a line for my big dramatic entrance, and I mucked it all up!" "Starlight!" Twilight cried as he ran over to her friend the student. "You came back from your trip early. What happened to heartwarming with your village?" Starlight smiled. "When I heard about how you were stranded in your own home by magically insulated snow, what kind of friend would I be if I didn't come to your aid?" Spike glanced behind her, seeing a pony-sized tunnel that ran for an incredibly long distance, the end of which a pinprick of light marked the exit. Meanwhile, Twilight continued talking. "They gave up on trying to drag the houses out from the top down," Starlight reported. "It was just too deep, so now instead every pony's digging out tunnels from one door to the next, all along the maze of roads. The pigs aren't too happy about it, but it's working effectively for now, or at least until we can come up with a better solution." She glanced behind Twilight and finally noticed the party carnage behind her. "Well, looks like you made the most of your time trapped. Are there any ponies stuck here we don't know about?" Twilight smiled but shook her head. "It's a long story, Starlight, but I think it's one you're interested in hearing. She turned her foreleg. A starlight's withers as they begin the long walk towards daylight. Tell me, have you ever heard the heartwarming pixie?
Oh, the end. Did you guys learn anything?
No! No, I didn't! I didn't learn anything from this insanity. All I learned is that this author is an insane nutcase who just got off on torturing Twilight for the past 12 chapters.
Well, at the very least, we can still keep our moral that we are never going to review fics during the Christmas season.
That's right. So, from all of us to... Trix? What was that?
Trixie doesn't know. We closed all the doors and windows, and this new studio is fully insulated from attacks.
Boss? Martial art for user? Chief Executive Boss?
Trixie still can't believe Twilight gave her that title.
We got a major problem outside. You two need to come quick. Major problem? What's going on?
Remember that darkness I told you?
Santa?
It's coming, and it's here.
What the? A giant dark cloud appeared before the reader and Trixie. The thundering echoes boomed across the sky. Two maleficent eyes looked towards him. Legendbringer and his faithful assistant backed away before turning around towards the narrator. I thought you only did that during the stories. What can I say? You paid me to do this job, and I'm going to do it right. Backing up, martial art for user began the conversation. What the hell is that? Give me a sec. I need to check up on... It's a mega surge of bad fanfic energy. Wait, what? Think about what's been going on through the past year, Twilight began. You read 2 ponyfics that you despised, that you really hated. Now, while normally you've been going through ponyfics that you had absolutely loved, you went through a One Piece fic that you utterly despised, and we spent over 3 months riffing. True. And then there was that Wonder Woman crossover that you utterly despised. Well, Twilight, it wasn't all that bad. I mean, there were good points. But you would still agree that it was mostly bad. You've never had a chance to read 2 bad ponyfics in a row. You've been sticking mostly to the ones that you enjoy the most. So what does this mean, Twilight? It means that there was a huge crack within the studio, before the studio, allowing all this residual bad fanfic energy to come in. It has allowed an old enemy to return. The voice boomed, laughing menacingly as it brought out a certain fic. Who is it? According to my readouts, it's Mikan. And he just brought forth a fic. Oh no. Martial art for user's heart froze as he gazed upon the fic within the massive clouds of hands. And he realized what it was, what he would have to read the next week. The legendary bad fic, that is. Starfleet is Magic, Season 4. Oh god. Turning towards the audience, martial art for user pointed out, that's right guys, if you've been sticking around long enough, you'll know that Starfleet Season 4 is a familiar enemy on this show. Mikan has been popping up as a writer of bad fanfic a couple of times on Fanfic Fridays. Which means next week, we're about to spend a whole month reading a bad fic. Guard your loins. Well, listen here, you bad fic, martial art for user said with a smirk. Me and my friends, we've been doing this job for 4 years. We've been through so many bad fics, it ain't even funny. We've been through worse stuff together. We have riffed and made fun of things that you wouldn't even imagine. You, my dear friend, are nothing more than a pea compared to me. So, from all of us here at the studio, I can only say, let's dance, mofo. With a crack, the four readers stood defiantly in front of the bad fanfic, cracking their knuckles and smirking as they each took a badass pose. Really? A badass pose? Narrator, shut up, Leatherbringer said, turning to me, growling. Alright, we need a badass pose to finish this up. Fine. I'll let those 3 years think of what all four of you will look like standing as a badass team together. Although granted, it's only 2 Pegasi and 2 unicorns. It's only 1 Pegasi and 3 unicorns. My studio is not racist. You're an earth pony. The narrator, his green coat shining in the night, nodded. Yeah. And I'm getting oddly upset that there are 3 unicorns and only 1 of me. The narrator then shook his head before waving a goodbye to the audience. See you all next week.